Hello, how you cats doing? Well, I know it's been a long time. I know this country went through a lot, really around the world. But I hope you cats are doing good. I hope that y'all was able to come through all of that stuff pretty good. Um, Today, I want to talk to you guys. I want to talk to you guys about heaven. What happened in heaven? What went wrong in heaven? Okay, and I've been studying. I've been having time to study. Been fine. Didn't have any problems. Family was okay. You know, but don't want to get too much into that because they don't want you to talk about stuff like that. But made a couple of videos. They removed them. But try to stay clear of that. All right. I'm going to talk about heaven. Okay, and I want people to know the research that I have done on heaven. Okay, first of all, if you look at this spiritual world, this is another dimension. All right, they're spirit. I do know that they have bodies lighter than a feather. They call them angels, spirits. You heard demons and devils and all of that, right? So when God first created the world or the galaxy or whatever, the dimensions, okay, He created billions and billions of spirits, or what they call angels. All right. He put some in charge. He put some over, some in some areas, some close to Him, some way out. These are millions and millions, so He can't do it all by Himself, you know. But what He did do is that He put the knowledge that He had accumulated over probably millions and millions or billions of years, right? Okay, so He told that to all the spirits that He created. So they all knew. They all knew what the truth was, right? And the ones that He had in control was you know their names. Michael the archangel, and they got a lot of other ones. You have to research just yourself. But you had Satan, and Satan was there, and he was considered over in charge of a certain area. Okay, now everybody knew about what God had taught. They knew about the good. They didn't know so much about the evil though. They didn't know that. God didn't tell them that, and then He gave them free will. So they had free will to do whatever they wanted. Okay, so Satan was an angel that was over a certain part of heaven. And what he did is that he told the people that he was over that, you know, you don't have to do everything God says. You know, and God was just love, peace. There's no police. There's no robbery. There's no stealing. There's no crime, no murder. You can't kill a spirit. The only way you can kill a spirit is just being away from God's knowledge. That's the only way. That's the only thing that the Bible says. So there's no death or nothing like that. You see what I'm saying? So if you look at Satan and the spirits up there, you're talking about a peaceful heavenly world, a peaceful, just loving world. Okay, and that's what God taught. And God is a very loving and caring spirit. Don't ever change that. Do not let the world and the Old Testament and God's an angry God and a mean God and a jealous God and all that. That is total nonsense. To say those people wrote in that book back in the day, they only wrote what they knew. That's the best they did the best they could with what they had. I don't blame them. Were they lying? No. They did the best they could with what they had. But is that who God is? No. God is a perfect spiritual, loving being that will not go back on His words. He holds true to His words. So now when you look at heaven, you say, okay, well, what went wrong? What went wrong in heaven? Okay, well, I'll tell you. If you had Satan, that he had decided after getting all the praise and, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so this, you're so that, you're so great, he decided to say, okay, I can be like God. I don't have to follow everything He says. I can enjoy myself and do this, or don't have to follow that, and he started teaching the other spirits or the other angels to do the same thing. Okay, and then you had a lot of chaos that started because of that, because God had already told them the right way to go. And there's always two thoughts. There's a good and an evil. And Satan decided to go that other route, which is, I don't have to do everything God says. And he told the other spirits that he didn't have to do it either. So you got that. So he ended up pulling 1/3 of the angels that had decided to do that. And chaos started. And God saw that chaos, and you almost would have like a fight or a war in heaven. Not a killing, not a blood and guts, none of that, because you don't have blood and guts. You're in the spirit. You don't have the death, the blood, and all of that, right? But you have a fight. You have a mental fight between these two forces. And what God said is that they would go, his angels would go to God and say, God, let us do this. Let us cast him out. Let us do this. Let us do that. And he said, no, you love it. You turn the other cheek, hoping that Satan would come back and understand where he went wrong. But he never did. He never did. So what God did is, after so many angels were starting to turn to that side and starting to do whatever they wanted, which was more negative. I mean, God said you could do whatever you wanted, but you don't want to do evil. You see what I'm saying? That evil that he gave them a choice to do has started to show results, which was negativity. You're starting to get negativity up in heaven. So now you get, God is thinking and saying, wait a minute, how do I get this out of here? How do I correct this? You know what I mean? Not saying that he's going to tell them anything, because he can't go back on his word. He's a loving God. He turns the other cheek. So what he thought of is creating a physical world. A physical world that he knew the humans was going to rise up in this world and know nothing about that other world, know nothing about the spiritual world. And they was going to see what choices or what choice the man would make. Would he choose evil or doing whatever he wants, or would he follow God, which is a laid out, loving, kind, respectful way? Okay? So as he created that man over thousands and thousands of years, maybe even millions of years, but thousands of years, Michael, one of the angels of God, and Satan, they fought over who would possess the body of Moses. They argued over who would possess their war went from arguing up there in another dimension, in the heavenly dimension, to the world. That who's going to possess the body of Moses. Okay? Now if you look at it, if you look into the world now, you see that man is constantly warring between good and evil. Good and evil. They're saying God is angry, God is mad, he's a jealous God, God is a loving God, God cursed you, God killed. No. That's Satan. That's Satan. Because now we no longer, once God created this world and we're separated from God in that other dimension, we no longer know who God is. Because when we came into the world, the human being, when he comes into the world, he loses his memory. Some from Satan's side got into this body. Some from the heaven side of God's people got into the world. That's why God say your name was written before the world was even created. Okay? Because God knew that he had to try to save the lost. And you say, well, how am I a sinner? How am I lost? Well, because if you in this world you in this world, you away from God. Okay? And he's trying to save everybody so they'll come back to God. All that negativity that Satan did, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Okay? So now you got 1/3 of the angels that is separated from God. And some of us in heaven decided to come down and to fight to try to wake those cats up. Not to mention raise ourselves up. Okay? That's why they always tell you about being saved. That's why they tell you about getting on that other side and believing in God and believing in Jesus. And that just don't believe it. It's just, it's just Jesus. So if you Muhammad or you a Muslim or you a Buddhist, you don't get. That's ridiculous. Hindus and all of that, it's all the same. It's all the same. We all under that same God. Whatever name you call it, it's all the same. Okay? You just in a different culture. You just in a different religion. You see what I'm saying? Only thing that I say is Satan got a religion too. But you don't want to be in his religion because his is putting you deeper and deeper into darkness. His is about deception, lying, deceiving. You don't want to follow that route. Okay? And I don't like sitting up here preaching to people. I'm just telling you the truth of what I figured out. Okay? Because I was a skeptic just like anybody else. When you're young, you don't really know. You're like, oh, that's some old religion, that's church, and oh, okay, pass the plate and all that. Okay. But it's reality. It's real spiritual knowledge there, okay? And once you get on that side and figure this out that, okay, it's about God, it's about love, it's about respect. See, when Jesus came down and he ended up dying, they said he died on the cross, right? That spiritual force went back up into heaven, and that evil force was no longer able to stay up there now. Because it was no longer just turn the other cheek. It was no longer just, well, if you do wrong, then you just a sinner, or you away from God, or you on my side. It's no longer that. Okay? If Jesus was able to go up there and say, hey, you got to bounce, buddy. I can do what God can't do because now God has given me the power. And I'm telling you, you got to go. Jesus and thousands of other ones went up there and did that same thing. The fight that they learned about good and evil in the world and overcame it, they was able to go back up there and take care of business. That's why God said, I was raised from the dead. And not only that, he went and got all the other people that was raised from the dead. Okay? So now you got the sons and daughters of God up in heaven being able to create the order again. And now you got Satan that's now been pushed down to the world. And God is the Satan. He's the God of this world. Okay? So that's why what you're seeing now, you're seeing it live and in color, boy. It's happening right now. If you want to talk about Armageddon, the war, the tribulation, it's all going down now. And if you can't see it, I don't know what else to say. You maybe need to get out and just talk to some people. I can't say too much because, I want them censoring the video. But they said that this is going to last for 7 years. Then they said that they're going to lock him up. He's going to be locked up for 1,000 years. So I can tell you the date. We won't be around, but I can tell you the date, which is 3020. It's going to be about 1,000 years from now. That's about the date. He's going to try it again, but it's not going to last as long. And then God will put an end to it. The people will rise up, and it'll squash it, just like we're going to have to rise up at this time. You got to overcome the racism, the being in different countries and different whatever you in. You can come together to fight against it. And once you're able to fight against it, he's going to be locked up. And you'll hold him there. We'll be able to hold him there for 1,000 years. Because they said if he didn't, with this war of Armageddon coming, no one would survive. Okay? No one would survive. So the people got to get into the people and wake their consciousness up. We fight against it. And another thing that I always said, which is you always heard me talk about in other videos about boycotting. Boycotting is boycotting the people that is in power that is doing evil. Okay? Don't buy their gold, their silver, their this or that. You're going to have to do it within yourself and with your own group. Okay? And that way you get the power. You create a parallel economy, which is you able to put your resources and power into your own people that believe like you, and then you can lift God's wisdom up, and you can bring that other one down. Okay? And then eventually they'll lock him away once they investigate all the evil stuff that other side did. The people that have sold out to Satan. And all Satan does is offer money and power and success and all of that. And they just, okay, I'll do it until the gig is up. And that's what's getting close to happening over in that other side. Okay? All right, brothers and sisters, I hope I was able to help a little. I hope I was able to get the message through. And don't take my word for it. Research for yourself. All right? Peace.